So guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm very lucky to be joined by All Things Tennis owner Ross. You all know this guy, and we have the brand new Aero 98. So I'm just going to hand you over to Ross quickly. He's going to explain a few of the differences from this racket, and then I'm going to jump into a play test.
Cool, thanks Sean. Yeah, so the major differences on this new Aero 98, you might be able to see right now with the frame there. They've flattened out the frame in order to make it more aerodynamic. We're talking small margins. We're talking maybe 6 to 7% as being touted on the grapevine. I actually think, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but that's a little bit easy in terms of the shape of the frame there.
Yeah,
a little bit flatter, yeah. It'd be interesting to see if that's giving us a little bit more power on the frame. Obviously, and they've even made the beam a little bit thinner, okay? So the major things is flattening out of this bit here in the bridge, a thinner beam. You've still got the 1620 string pattern, but you've got this NF2 tech, which is flax fibres. It's a natural fibre, so it's supposed to give vibration dampening.
This is the same one that's in the new Pure Drive.
Correct, yeah, same tech. So you're looking for a kind of, that's still that Babolat crisp response, like huge spin while it being controlled, and hopefully a little bit softer, maybe a little bit more powerful this year. But okay. Who knows? You tell us.
Let's give it a go. Here we go. Okay, so straight away I'm actually feeling that performance from the 2023 Aero is still there. You're still getting that really aggressive ball flight and that real kind of spin that bites as it hits the court. It's kicking off quite a lot. I know that we're on the clay, but you can see it really jumping off on the other side. And I have actually been trying this racket out for the past 2 hours and the feedback that I've been getting from a lot of the people that I've been hitting with is it really does jump on the other side. I'd say that the feel is actually quite different from the old one. It's a little bit softer. I'm getting a little bit more kind of forgiveness out of it. Yeah, I feel like it's definitely a little bit softer than the 2023 version. You said about that NF2 tech. You can definitely feel that it's a little bit more kind of forgiving. I feel like with the old one, it was a little bit stiff sometimes, but yeah, this is definitely a little bit softer. Yeah, I feel like there's a little bit of a difference in terms of kind of the racket head speed that I'm generating from it. It's a little bit more whippy. Whether that is to do with the, kind of more aerodynamic shape of the frame, or maybe it's like a slightly low swing weight, I don't actually know, but it feels like I'm getting a little bit more whip. One thing that I feel like is a real strength of this racket is I've been hitting the ball pretty hard, like very hard. And it's quite hard to actually miss long with it because the ball just dips so aggressively. It's actually crazy. Sometimes, when I'm hitting, I think that I'm hitting maybe three or 4 feet long, and then it just dips in at the last second. I think, for anyone that's watched my 2023 Aero 98 review, you would have seen like a really similar thing. A lot of bite, a lot of heavy, top spin, really aggressive arc on the ball. And you're not missing out on that with this, but I feel like they've kind of softened it up a little bit, so it's a little bit more forgiving, and there's not as much kind of stiffness, not as much tension in the racket. Normally when people change rackets, they you lose out on a little bit of performance sometimes, or maybe feel, and it doesn't feel like that's the case with this. It feels like they've kind of added to it.
Would you say, obviously, this is the Aero 98, which 2023, so many pros were changing to it.
Oh yeah.
And now, obviously, pros are going to have to adapt to this. Do you think we'll see everyone using this new updated?
I think we're just going to see more and more players switching to this type of frame. Either this or the 100. I think we're going to see a lot of players go into this. I think this one in particular, I'm already seeing, so many people switching to the 98, when I'm playing my tournaments, when I'm playing on the tour, so many guys are going to this, and you're seeing it on you know, at the top of the game as well. Like everyone's using this, but they're using it blacked out. So, you know, you can see how good it is. People are almost like leaving their contracts for it. But yeah, I think that this is, at the minute, like this is probably the absolute peak of like the modern tennis racket. Power, spin, and then as much control as you can have without, you know, losing out on the other benefits. Middle, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I mean, I probably get asked the question a lot, you know, does this racket suit a single-hander? And to be honest, I just think this racket suits any player. I feel like, you know, there's almost like no limit on how many different types of game styles can use this racket, because it does perform so well from all areas of the court. I mean, the only downside that I've found is when I'm flattening the ball out, I'm not getting, you know, loads and loads of control. But I mean, that's a pretty positive downside to have, I think. I think that, you know, as long as you're ripping up the back of the ball, you're going to get all the control and all the power that you need. Yeah, it's just actually so easy to hit with. I absolutely nail this one. Yeah, I think when it comes to playing points, it's completely different. So like when you're, you know, hitting up and down the middle, you know, you can feel great, you can feel like Rog. But when you're playing points, you need something you can trust, because you need to be able to generate enough spin to get the control. And when you hit through it, you know, you get more power. You need the control. And I feel like, as you know, I think as a player, you know, not just like a racket tester, I think this racket gives me a lot more confidence when I'm actually playing points, because I can really hit through it and I'm getting that control, the spin, you know, it's bringing it back down in the court. You know, I feel like there's a reason why so many players are switching to it, because it's just so all in, you know. Like I say, great performance from the baseline. Should we take it to the net, see how it performs? Don't be too scared to get a little bit closer if you want.
Just the smell for me that does it.
Yeah, it's this ATT top. It's probably been in your cupboard for about 10 years.
You don't wash it.
Yeah. This is probably Josh's. Here we go. I don't cheat when I do my volleys. If you really want to test the racket out, test it out from the service line, because this is where you're going to come into, you know, you're going to be coming into the net, you're going to be transitioning to the net. This is where you need to, you know, really feel, you know, the racket on the volley, because this is where you're going to be making contact with most of them. But what I'm getting straight away is, you know, obviously there is an element of power to this racket, and typically that's not associated with, you know, having good volleys. But what I'm feeling is, because I'm getting a lot of pop out of the racket, I feel like I'm able to just almost just stick the racket out and not add too much to it, and I get the control through having power, like not having to do that much. And as you can see, my volleys are pretty consistent with it, you know. And when I was playing points earlier, it was the same kind of thing, you know. I was just kind of coming in and almost just letting the ball bounce off the strings. Should we go a few more? Yeah, it's just that feeling of like just letting the ball pop. Yeah, I think that, you know, I've definitely hit with better rackets at the net. Like, obviously I use a Pro Staff, that's pretty kind of, you know, at home at the net, I think. But I just think that in terms of like all-round performance, this is probably, you know, in my opinion, I think it's probably the best on the market for all-round performance, for everything. Should we do some serves? Yeah, sorry, I forgot where I was going with that. Right, let's go serves. But yeah, for me, the serving is the most important thing when you're trying out a racket. It's probably the thing that people avoid the most. Like they hit up and down the middle, they say, oh, the racket's great, but you need to serve with a new racket. And, you know, for me, you know, honestly, when I first picked up this racket and I was like serving with it, I didn't actually get on with it too well for the first like 15, 20 minutes. You know, it took me a while to adjust. Like the swing weight's different, obviously, to my pro staff, and I felt it was a little bit uncontrollable. You know, I was missing a lot, and then I kind of realized that all I need to do is literally throw it up and almost just touch the ball, you know, and obviously get a lot of pop. So I don't really need to force anything to get the power, and obviously get a lot of racket head speed because, you know, of the aerodynamic nature of the frame and also the swing weight. So I think that's the key, is not trying to force the pace with it. Almost just like let it happen with it. Should we go a few points? Bollocks. Winner takes it. I'm gonna go kick a tee. Gotta go one more, can't finish on that. Fuck. Thanks.
Last one, Mark.
Last one. Matcher for the winner. Hey. 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 Ah.
That's why they subscribe.
That was awesome. Yeah, I think that I'll definitely do another in-depth review of this racket. You know, I'm really keen to see, you know, what the reaction is, you know, from you guys. Do you like this racket? Do you love it? You know, let me know in the comments, and I'm gonna obviously compare this to the 100 as well at some stage. But first of all, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to All Things Tennis for sponsoring the video, Babolat UK for supplying me with this lovely frame and the courts and setting everything up, and also the Wimbledon Club, so many people to thank. But yeah, massive thank you. As ever, like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.